Autofocus, 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 autofocus. Ah, boom. What's up, design lifers? Welcome back to the channel. It's Jimmy, and I'm going to continue this series talking about my industrial design projects, showing you guys the work that I made when I was going to school, talking about all the projects made in year 1, year 2, breaking it up into fall and spring, and then year 3 video just a couple days ago. So definitely go check that video out if you haven't already. The links should be all down at the bottom. This video is going to be a continuation of that. I'm going to show you guys the work that I made for another class. So for the first video, I made it for 280, which was a very engineering based class, and so this one's going to be a very artsy based class. It's going to be studying form of products, animals. Very interesting class, and honestly I really didn't like that class. Alright guys, let's go ahead and jump to the computer now. Actually, I lied. Not going to jump into the computer quite yet. I have some actual physical drawings that I want to show you guys first, and then we'll go ahead and look at the digital stuff. Here, I'm just gonna adjust the camera. I got all of my sketches ready. It's essentially taking an ugly product that's on the market and trying to fix it and make it look better. So I remember I picked the BMW 5 Series GT. That's the really big whale-like looking one. I ended up modifying it and making it look better. And the funny thing was, they actually designed the next model to look very similar to my model. So I kind of like foresaw it in a way. I actually threw away a lot of the sketches, so these were the two that I kept around. After that, we jumped into another similar project where we're now focusing more on style. With industrial design, there can be a lot of different styles, and there might be a style that you end up picking that you really like. For this specific project, my professor said, hey, you're gonna need to design a clock. He showed us a clock and it was very ugly, and he called it the Triton. We're supposed to modify the look and try to turn it into what he called tactical, and then we had to apply that tactical kind of style onto this clock. Just kind of like came up with some very techie looking clocks that were kind of crazy in a way. Tons of thumbnail sketches. Then I get a little bit more defined, trying to really nail down what I thought tactical meant. Being an industrial designer, we need to have a lot of control over the style that we apply onto the product. You know, depending on the product, it could require a different kind of style. I've shown you guys that clay model of that like Godzilla looking kind of creature. So this is that project, and what we're supposed to do with that project is pick 2 animals and study their form and then try to make a shape or a form out of clay. And so I decided, for some reason, I thought snapping turtles were cool. We're supposed to make these like image boards, very common thing that industrial designers do. Another shot here, and you need to sketch it, you know, look at the specific shapes and details and textures. Here are some of the shapes that I came up with, and then eventually I end up making this kind of creature out of that clay. So this is a pretty thick book that has been whittled down into just the sketches that I wanted to keep. At the end of this class, dude, there was so much paper and sketches. We're supposed to pick 2 different animals. This is my second animal. It's a red-eyed frog. Sketching the frog, studying its form, studying the shape of the bodies, what the hand or the leg looks like, and then again trying to apply it onto some type of product looking thing. So now that I showed you guys my actual sketches, my physical sketches, we're gonna jump right into the computer so I can show you guys the clay models because I didn't keep them around. So let's go. Let's go! We're gonna go ahead and check out the clay model now. So we actually end up using automotive clay. Automotive clay is really cool. You can really do a lot of organic things with it. The issue that I found with it is that you gotta heat it up. You gotta put it into an oven, heat it up for a certain amount of time. It gets warm so that it gets easier to mold. Once it cools down, you're gonna need to heat it up again because it's really hard to work with cold clay. Heater going on to heat up the clay. So the shop is a small room. So so it gets actually really hot. Another drawback of this clay is that it's kind of expensive and it's hard to get your hands on. For our class, we ended up getting it through the school or through another school, which was Art Center. Art Center is known for their automotive design. They had a lot of really high quality automotive clay. If you want to get your own, just go find a school that might sell it, or just go ahead and do a search for automotive clay and maybe you could buy a pack on Amazon or something. If you guys take a look at what I have here, it looks like it only took a couple hours to make this thing, but honestly guys, it took forever. It took multiple hours in a day for multiple days. And at the end of it all, you know, it looks kind of cool, but I'm not too happy with it. If you loved using Play-Doh when you were young, I'm pretty sure you'll love making stuff out of clay. All right guys, I'm gonna move on to the next project. So here is the final project of form study class, finding all of the different forms that we really like, putting them all together, and then creating some kind of object that looks like it does something, but it doesn't actually need to do anything. Machine logic and applying it onto a product. I really like the idea of having this very complex look on a very simple form. You guys can see on the top here, these are my inspirations. And the funny thing was that it really did end up looking like a golf driver. A couple years later, I ended up designing 2 golf drivers on a TV show. Triangular button, you could actually press it and it'll light up. All the different things broken up, you know, here's some chrome bits, here's some matte black bits and some silver bits with some details on it. I used wood here too, so that was very interesting. So I started off with a foam block. I shaped it to the shape that I liked. It was very smooth. Drawing on it, seeing what I can actually do to this block, and then breaking it up into different parts. Cut away this part here and I'll replace it with another part that is exactly the same shape but in a different material, such like this wood part here. It takes a long time to make models like this. You know, first you gotta build it and make all the different parts, you gotta paint it, you gotta make sure all the parts fit together, clear coat the thing. So it's a really time intensive thing if you've never made a model before. And that was my final project for the class form study, and I just wasn't as happy as I thought I would be with the model. What I wanted to try to do was to start off with this very simple shape, breaking it up into a lot of different pieces, and each piece having its own color, material, and finish, so that hopefully when it was all put together it would look very cool and complex. But it just didn't look as cool as I thought it would be in my mind. And so what I really wanted to do was revisit this project, and luckily I did have the opportunity to. Every third year, the class of that year is allowed to enter into the Duncan Anderson Scholarship. And the Duncan Anderson Scholarship, if you won that, you could win $6,000, and this was only awarded to 2 students, so you would win $6,000 each. And so I really wanted to win this scholarship. Tried my best. I wrote the best essay I could possibly write, and then I also wanted to revisit that project, so that was an opportunity for me to make another model. I didn't have to make another model, but I really wanted to because I just didn't like that one. I took 6 weeks to make this. This is a futuristic F1 car, and it's made out of foam. I actually was very inspired by a road bike bicycle seat, and so you guys can really see that in the side view here. And it does have some 3D printed bits, but essentially it's made out of high density foam, which is like really hard foam that you can shape with sandpaper, and then you primer it to give this like eggshell kind of a surface, which you can sand to be really smooth, to the point where then you can paint it and then clear coat it, and then it'll give you a finish that is very close to what you would see on real life cars. I ended up actually winning the competition. Oh yeah! And so that was definitely one of my highest achievements. Just look back and I'm just like, man, I can't believe I did that. That's just absolutely incredible. A lot of the students in my class were extremely talented. There was a ton of talented students that could have easily won the scholarship, and so I just had to take it to the next level. Boom, this is what I made after that, and I'm super happy. So maybe even if you make a bad model, that might not be the end of the world, and perhaps good things can come out from it. Hope you enjoyed that video. I can only fit so much in a single video, so definitely highly consider hitting that subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos, and also hit that like button if you learned a thing or two, and leave me a comment down at the bottom if you have any burning questions you want to ask me or any suggestions for future videos. Please, please, please guys, also share these videos with anybody you think can benefit from them. It could be a friend or a classmate. Alright guys, my name is Jimmy and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.